Welcome to Bible Study How To, the show where we talk about how to study the Bible and what the Bible has to say about some issues that we face in day-to-day life. A quick disclaimer and trigger warning, this is video 1 of 2 where we'll be talking about pornography as well as sexual exploitation and human trafficking and the effects that they have on sex in general. Before we get started, I want to say that I believe people should be monogamous and save themselves sexually for marriage, but I also understand that many people, including many Christians, whether they believe this or not, do not practice this. So I'll be using a language of sex positivity. That's not to be mistaken for me endorsing premarital sex, but just acknowledging that it happens. This conversation may at times get graphic or disturbing, but I think this is a conversation that the church needs to be having because it affects both men and women in the church and outside of the church. So let's dive right in. Whether we like it or not, porn is a real aspect of our society, and the church typically does not do a great job talking about it beyond making people just feel shame about it. My goal here is not to shame you, but to inform you of the spiritual and moral consequences of consuming porn. The average age for first exposure to pornography in North America is 8 to 11 years old, and that is crazy to me. Now, it's no secret that porn is frowned upon by the church because of the whole lust thing, but there are other non-lust related reasons why you shouldn't be watching porn, and they don't just apply to Christians either. If you are at all trying to be a good person or lead a moral life, you'll want to think twice before watching pornography. Probably the most obvious reason is that porn objectifies the people that are in it. And more than that, it trains you to objectify the people that you interact with outside of porn in the real world. Objectification is when you stop seeing somebody as a human being and start seeing them as a series of objects broken down into body parts that just exist for your own personal sexual satisfaction. And I hear a lot of Christians say, oh, you shouldn't look at porn because that's somebody's daughter or that's somebody's sister. But a person's value doesn't depend on their relationship to somebody else. You shouldn't watch porn because that is a human being imbued with a soul and the sacred image of God. Not to mention that porn is always a gateway to something more hardcore. We are hard to please when our goal of our actions is our own desires. And so once the porn you are looking at gets boring to you, you start seeking out more hardcore stuff to watch. And that's both damaging to your spiritual and mental health, but it's also damaging to the health and safety of the people in the video. Next, there's also a direct correlation between porn and sex trafficking. Now, not all porn does this, I'll admit that, but a great amount of it does, and particularly amateur porn. I had a friend once who admitted to me that he watched porn, but he said it was okay because he only watched the amateur stuff. And my reaction was, oh, well, great. So you're objectifying human beings, but you're not even paying them for it. And it's quick sidebar, paying people for it does not justify it. But people who are sex trafficked are often forced into doing porn as a way to normalize the acts that they'll be forced to do and as a way to advertise their services to potential customers. When you view content that like this, you are participating in the sexual assault and exploitation of the women and men forced into these acts, and you're pleasuring yourself to it. So let that sink in for a second. Again, not all porn does this, but it's almost impossible to know which porn does and which porn doesn't, especially, like I said, in the amateur category. And you can never tell, even in mainstream pornography, which actors got their start in the industry this way. Here's a big one. It affects your sex life. In general, sex is not supposed to look like porn, but we've conditioned ourselves to only be turned on by hardcore pornographic themes. We have unrealistic expectations of our partners based on what we've seen. And it's gotten so bad that Viagra sales have actually spiked for people in their 30s because we can't get turned on by normal things anymore. The final reason I want to highlight, and it's by no means the only or last reason, is that porn actors are often victims of sexual assault or rape, often as children, which normalizes their behavior at a young age, making it okay for them to do it later on in life. By partaking in porn culture, we are participating in that cycle of abuse that led them down this path. Again, this is not the story for every porn star, but it's impossible to know which ones it is true for and which ones it's not true for. Here's my main point, which we'll dive into a little bit in the next video, deeper in the next video. Christians shouldn't watch porn because we are called to uphold justice and defend the vulnerable, and consuming pornography takes part in the exploitation and abuse of the people in the videos and images. Why does this matter? Well, it makes us implicit in their abuse, and with their abusers, it makes us one of the abusers. Every time you're gratified by sexual abuse, you become the abuser. These are people, these are human beings who God dearly loves, and it should break our hearts to see them in this cycle of pain and abuse. There is a ton of scripture to back this up, so please check out video number 2 as we dive more into the scriptural and spiritual reasons why you should be avoiding pornography, as well as some of the resources and things you can do to fight it in your own life and in the world at large. So what do you think? Is porn really that bad? Should Christians really be so worried about this? Leave a comment below and please keep it civil. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the One Church Mobile YouTube channel so you can be kept up to date with all of our video content. If you want to support the project, you can head on over to patreon.com/onechurchmobile and become a monthly patron, where you will get early access to a lot of our content and some exclusive access to content that we're not releasing on any other platforms or websites. Thank you so much for watching.